Hey there, Geekstar. I hope you are well. So today we are doing a beginner-friendly to-do list using Angular 18, and this is basically adding to a list of array, and we're gonna add a list of to-do. And when you click on add, it's gonna have a list of the items that have been added. We will also do a delete as well as the complete function that will just erase out any completed items or remove an item when a person clicks on delete. And if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if it'll give you a very good value. And let's get started. So make sure that you have the correct settings and the correct installations there. We are on Angular 18 as of time of recording. Please go to the docs and check if you have the correct node as well as the Angular CLI. And to check that, we're gonna go to installation and make sure you check the version of your node should be this one or newer, and as well as to update, make sure you update your Angular CLI using this line and your command prompt. So let's get started. To get started, I have my CMD open, so I'm gonna generate a new project, engine new. So this will be Angular to do. I'm gonna select here and here's for this one, and I'm going to wait a bit until it completes the installation of the packages. Right, now that it's done, I'm going to go to Angular to do project. Let me open it inside my Visual Studio Code. There we have it here. And also I will say ng-serve to run it in my browser. Expand. Okay, it's running on localhost 4200. Right, so first thing first, we're going to remove all of this that we have here. We're going to remove all of it, so we're not going to use the styles and the other placeholder things that they have here, as well as this comment. Right, so I'm using the standalone. So standalone is, you might have noticed on Angular 18 it does not have modules, but we are using, for standalone, we're using imports from the site, but I'm going to show you just now. To get started, I will create a class, an interface class, an interface right on top here, but it's optional for you. If you don't want to use class, you can just skip it. But I will have an interface here for my to-do item, and my to-do will have an ID, which is a number. And then I'm gonna have a task which will be a string, and then completed. Save this. Right, so first I will declare a array of to-do list where it's gonna keep all my arrays of my to-do as I add. It will be of type to-do item, which is this one, and because it's an array, I will add the square brackets like that. And then secondly, I will do a new task, which will be a string, and it should start in an empty. This one will be used for my input, and from here I will go to my HTML where I do my front end part. So inside my main class, I will call this to do container. Container style, we'll style it just now. Okay, div will be the one that has my button and my input. So I'll start with the input that will have a new to-do list. We'll use ng model is equal error because it needs to, we need to import from the site, and to import that we're gonna go to import and you're gonna say comma here and add your import for forms module, right? So it has also imports the forms module from Angular Forms. And if I save this here, my error for ng model now is gone. I'm gonna continue and say this one will keep my input, and let's have a placeholder that says enter new task. Okay, let's see, what do we have? So we have this just doing nothing, just an input for now. Let me remove this guy. I'm gonna have my button here for add, my add button here, and it's just this one. And then I'm gonna on my stylings, I'm going to start with the container. Just want to put it in the middle of my screen, so I'm gonna say container and my style, max width 400 pixels, and margin be 0 auto, and have a little padding to it, so it's pretty much nice there in the middle. And I will add a okay, let me just add a shadow, maybe not a border, box shadow, 2 pixels, 10 pixels, RGB to a 0 for green, red, zero as well, and a little shade of that. Okay, so it has that shadow box there. And I'm gonna add a background color to different whites, but a different one, or maybe F9. Good. Okay, let me also give it a border radius of 9 pixels. Okay, so we have a nice round thing there. Right, so I will also add, let me go to to-do list. Right, so currently the to-do list does not do anything. When I have a method to add our to-do, which will be aligned with our button. So I'm gonna declare function here, say add task function, which I'm gonna keep it void. Right, so first thing we need to test if this has a value, if our input has a value, to just make sure that a person does not add an empty field. So to do that, we're going to have an if statement here saying this dot new task dot trim is not equals to empty. So if it's not equals to empty, then we would want to push it into our array. And to push into our array, we are going to have first a declare new to do that has been added at the time item, and then of type to do item class there, and is equals to, and then I'm gonna put curly braces here. Right, so it's giving us an error because it says there are missing values for this type of to do. So in this to do, we need an ID, and an ID you can generate like a random date, because a date will always have a new value as it takes like even seconds. So we need a unique value for our ID. Okay, not equals to math assign. Okay, and our task will be the new task that a user imported inside our inputs, which is aligned to this ng model here. So this input gets an value from the new task, and it is the one that we are going to put here. And then lastly, we want to say complete. Is it completed? Of course, a new one is not completed, so it remains as false. So now it is time to push into our array, still underneath this if statement. Right after we have created our new to-do entry, we will call our to-do list array, this one, and push our items there. Okay, so this dot new item, new, no, not new item, man, sorry about that. Push, we're gonna push our new item that we just populated here, and we're gonna push it into our array. Okay, I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna call add function inside our button. Click and add new task, save. To see if it has pushed, I'm going to use my console log and console log my array, the to-do list array. So I'm gonna go to my browser now, and yeah, so I'm gonna go inspect element so I could see my console log. So now if I say new task and add, see it has added an object. Let's say add another one, add. So I have two things pushed there. So what we're going to do now is just remove this entry after someone just added something. I should just remove that, and to do that it's very simple. We are going to say from here, let me remove my console log, this dot new task is equal to an empty. Right, so we pretty much completed adding our to do. See, it disappears, and you cannot really add with if there's nothing there. Okay, so now we are going to list our to-dos right at the bottom, and also may have a delete for it. So to list my to-do, simple, have a list which has that list. Okay, and this list I'm gonna use ng4. To use ng4, is equal to let to do item of my to-do list array. Save this, and right here I will go and add my ng4 inside my import. It's very important. And we'll come back here and say first I'll have a checkbox. Okay, before my checkbox, let me just list the list here. This one will have the to-do item, this to-do item. Oh no, okay, let me just do to-do item dot task and save. So I will add maybe one list, and it shows, let's say music, and it shows. Okay, so instead of listing like this, I'm just gonna show a checkbox here that will check to say complete, and a delete button here. So I'm just gonna quickly add those two. So I'll have an input for my checkbox. To use an input for a checkbox, I'm gonna say type and say checkbox, and if I save and say coding, Now we have a checkbox, right? And then right at the bottom I'll have my button for delete. Okay, before we add that, let's see if it shows coding, right? So let's have, now we're gonna do a method to complete the to-do list. First I will have a change. I'll use the change. I'll have change and event listener for change. I will show you how to do that. So to change this one, I'm gonna call it a toggle complete. We are going to need an ID of that item that has been selected. So the ID will be of type number. Instead of an ID, we will use an index rather. So void, right? So this index, how we're gonna get it from here, we will do this comma thing, and we're gonna say to get an index of a selected item in this ng4, I'm gonna declare I for will be for index, like that. So this I will basically have an index of a selected item, and here on my own change I will then call this toggle completed and pass I for that index. And just to test if it gets the correct one, I will go back and console log the index from here to see if it catches the selected correct index. Okay, task 1, add. So if I do this, you can see it's on index 0. If I add a new one, if this one should be index 2, as it starts from index 0, right? So you see creates the correct index. In that case, we are able to say change this to be completed true. And to do that, I will say now my array list dot add not dot add this index dot completed is equals to, and then I'm gonna add the exclamation mark and basically do the same thing right here. This little magic here will just change this to true if it was false, or false if it was true. And to test if it works again, I will console log my to-do list array and check my complete if it just generates a new complete boolean. New task, task. Okay, let's see if I click on this one. You will see that this one's complete true and this one's still at false. If I click this one, they should be both completed true. So basically our backend is pretty much working well. I will remove this and my complete has been complete. And now I'm gonna have my delete function. I'm gonna declare delete task. This one should have an ID, should pass an ID. It can pass you can pass an ID or an index, but I'm going to show you if you want to use an ID instead of an index rather. Okay, so this one also returns nothing. Right, so this one I'm going to say this dot to do my array is equals to, because we want to remove, we are going to use JavaScript filter. To do that, I'm going to say this dot to do my array dot filter, Okay, so I'm going to filter, have an item here equals to greater item, this item dot id not equals to id. Now this magic line will remove an id, an entry that belongs to this id that was sent here. Okay, I will log again my to-do list just to test if it works. Now in my button here, I will then call this function, delete function, and it expects an ID. Now to get an ID from this side of our code, we will do that. When I say this to do item that is selected, send just an ID. So I'm gonna save and see if it works. Coding, testing, add. Okay, so if I say delete, see it has removed. We only have one, it has removed. Simple as that. So basically we have delete and adding, and as well as complete. What is remaining now is quickly doing the styling. Now this one is pretty much basic to do, so the styling won't be that much hectic. I will go to my CSS and style. Can margin padding. I will style dot add task. This will be for our first div here. Okay. At task, I'm gonna have it at display flex. I'm gonna justify my content to be in the center and give a spacing at the bottom, just a bit of 20 pixels. Right, so it's nice and centered there. And I'm gonna style also my inside this div. I'm gonna style the input that is in here. So input compared to the button, and padding, I'm gonna give it a nice 10 pixels, and font size to 16. Let me give it 2 EM. And border radius, I'm gonna give it a border note, border radius 1 pixels, solid, just a fading color, and border radius, I'm gonna give it a 4 pixels, and margin right so it sticks to the right there. Right, and the next one I'm gonna add is the button. So I'm just underneath this class, add a button. Now my button will be, let me just give it a padding from side and pixels, and the background color, let me just see if I can find a green color somehow. And then I'm gonna, the color of the text will be white, and border, no border, none. And then border radius 4 pixels as well, and cursor to a pointer. Let's see. Oh, okay, this is big. Let me just use 16 pixels. Right, so we have our styles for that one. The next styling will be for the task list. So my list, Now task list, list type. I don't want it to have the the dot thing, the bullet thing. So I will say, is it list style to none? None. I think yes, none. And I'm gonna come back here on my HTML and call this class here task list. Let me see if it still have borders. Not borders, man. The bullets. So the bullets are gone. And let me first style this guy. Let me give it a padding. There. And I'm gonna go down and have still underneath this class, I have a list like that. And I'm gonna say display flex. Justify content. I'm gonna give it a space between and align items to be center. Give it a padding. I will also give it a 10. And margin bottom. Give it a space at the bottom. And the background color for this one should be different from the entire form. I'm gonna give that white. And yeah, border radius to keep with the branding. And also box shadow. Let me see if I could add this, but not too harsh. I'm gonna give it a 1 and a 4 here. Right, so let's see how that looks. Nice. Okay, so next I'm gonna do my button, which is of same class as well. Oh no, copy, but the button from this class style. First padding from the sides, and background color should be like red, and the color of the text should be white. And I don't like the borders of a button, and border radius, we keep it to 4 pixels. And right, so see, look, right, and delete button. Okay, so we're gonna do the complete part. Style our complete styling, and to style our complete styling, when the person clicks on the checkbox, it should just write through in the name of the task, and also do the background, the color of the task to be a little bit gray. Now, okay, first I'm just gonna quickly do the checked here. Say this is checked when this a to-do item is completed. Right, so on side here for my complete style, I will have a space here and call entry class is equals to curly braces. I'm gonna call this class completed space and say should do when an item is completed. Right, so I'm gonna go to my TS and have ng class in my import. Okay, so I'm gonna do the completed here. Before that, we're gonna have to do it here because this is a style that will be changed. So here I'm gonna call just class, which I will style now. Class, this takes a class of completed, and when a to-do item is completed, save. Okay, I will then go to, did I save this? Go here and on my list, task list, and say list class completed span, and when I use text decorator to stretch out a line through this task and give a color of that one. Let me see if this works. Okay, new task, and there you have it. So when you click on check, it stretches it out. So basically that is conditional styling for my span, and it's inside completed style, which has this condition from here and having to do with the condition of an item being completed or not. And we use ng styling, and as well as here we use class. Make sure that your ng class, not ng styling, ng class is imported inside your ts file underneath the import. And ladies and gentlemen, basically that is it. Of course, you can go over with this task and do maybe update and as well as like add priority to this. But as from here, thank you so much for watching my videos, and if you have stayed this far, and don't forget to give it a like and as well as subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel.